We are live, I think. I hope. I want to make sure. Um, can you guys see me and hear me? That is what I need to know. Can you guys see me and hear me? That is okay. I'm like playing it, and that's not what I need to be doing. Okay, I think we are live. I'm like such a grandma. So, okay, you can. Okay. Y'all, when I tell you I am like such a grandma with like all this technology, it's actually pretty embarrassing. So, um, we'll we'll get started. Oh my gosh, hey y'all, how are you? How's your Saturday going? Don't mind me, I'm looking down because I have my computer in front of me. But I should be looking here. But if I look down, you know why. But hello, how are you guys? Um, Let me like look in the chat. Oh, you guys are laughing at me like, yes. Yes, we can hear you and see you. Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. Thank you guys for letting me know that. I'm trying to see if anyone else. All right, I don't want to like wait too long because I want to make sure that we get through everything. Um, but if at any point like you don't hear me or see me, just write in the chat because I'm like on the chat on my phone so I can see what's going on. Just because I want to make sure that you guys um, get everything. Okay, so okay, yeah, I'll get started. Oh, thank you. You love my hair. Thank you so much. I threw a hat on today because I just was feeling a hat, so that's what I did. Um, let's see. I'm trying to think, we should probably wait for some more people. Okay, I'll wait like a minute. I'll like read your responses in the chat and we can talk there. Yeah, we'll get started in like a minute just to make sure everything is working right. This is like my first time setting up a live stream. So if this goes really well, I'm going to be very happy because I did so much research and like so much went into this. So I'm so happy that you all could come. All right. All right. So let's get started. So, thank you for coming to my live stream where we are going to go over how to master your interview. So, I get a lot of questions about this. Like, I have an interview. How do I prepare? What am I supposed to do? And so I was just like, you know what? Let me actually do a live stream. Let me kind of just let y'all know, like, how to master your interview. So, we'll get right into it. All right, so that's me. Just a little introduction. I am a fourth year doctor of pharmacy student. I completed my bachelor's degree at a university for 4 years, and I got my bachelor's in biology, and then I attended pharmacy school. Literally, like, I graduated in May and I started pharmacy school in that August. So it was just so fast. And that was also another 4 year program. So now I'm in my last year of pharmacy school. Praise God. It's been a journey, but I'm so thankful to finally be here. And so I currently have a YouTube channel. A lot of you who are probably joining know this. And so I have a YouTube channel titled Be His Masterpiece. And the ultimate idea of this channel is to share my faith as a Christian, share my journey of being in pharmacy school, and even when I graduate, just my journey in pharmacy overall, and lifestyle, just to kind of share about my life and who I am, and kind of let you all see a little bit about me. On my channel, and I just I don't just share pharmacy, my faith, but I just share like little random things all the time. So yeah, that's what the lifestyle encompasses, like all the other stuff. And so I currently work as a pharmacy assistant at a hospital in my area. It's really great. I love my job. I thoroughly enjoy it. So I wanted to add that in there to let y'all know that I do have a job. So, like, in talking about, you know, uh, having an interview, I think it's important to know, like, I am working. So I have interviewed before. And so my hobbies include, obviously, videography. I genuinely enjoy recording, editing, all of that. That's really fun for me. Watching YouTube videos, like I can sit in my bed and I can watch YouTube videos. Like, so one time I was like scrolling, watching all these random videos, and all of a sudden I'm just like, whoa, I've been on YouTube for like 2 hours. And eating, y'all, I love to eat. Like, Thanksgiving is probably one of my favorite holidays. Of course, to be thankful for what I have in family, but also for the food. Like, your girl loves to eat. Okay, so what do I know about interviews? So when I was in undergrad, I worked as a housing manager for my university, and pretty much what this was I was a resident assistant, and then if you wanted to go further, you could be a housing manager. So this was basically like the resident director for the area that we were in. It was for the housing apartments. And so pretty much like we were like the RDs. I don't know if anyone calls them that, but we call them that. So they pretty much let us know, like, hey, you're the RDs for the apartment complexes. So you guys are pretty much like the go-to person. And part of this job, we had to interview individuals so that way they can be, prepared to be a resident assistant. So we would interview resident assistants, we would interview housing managers, like we would do a lot of interviews, and we would have to do like a lot of sessions because a lot of people would apply. So that was something that I would do. And I got a lot of practice interviewing people, both like in a group and in an individual setting, or like a one-on-one. And I also worked in the admissions office in pharmacy school. So I like worked with the admissions counselors. So, they would talk about things that they would look for in students. And so I was able to understand and learn a little bit more about like how that interview process went. And I also interviewed to get into pharmacy school. So, I've had multiple interviews, I've conducted interviews. So I think I know a thing or two about an interview, just to be able to help you all out, because I know that a lot of times interviews can bring on anxiety and fear and all these different things. So I just wanted to be able to help y'all out so that way you don't have to be scared or anxious or fearful of your interview. Let me look in the chat, see what's happening. Oh, it's a little blurry. I don't know how to fix that. um, Yeah, I don't know how to fix the blurriness. I hope that it's not like too distracting, and you can at least hear me, maybe. But oh, it's fine now. Okay, yay, perfect. Okay. All right, so I'll keep going then. Um, so yeah, so we'll continue. All right. So, congratulations. You got through the application process. And this is a huge congratulations, y'all. I have gone through the application process, whether it's for school or whether it's for a job. Y'all, those applications are extensive. And it's just like the part that's like always annoying is like when you upload your resume, right? And after you work so hard on your resume, you finally upload it. And then the next part is please insert like every single job description, all these things. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is for like your jobs, for your hobbies, for your activities. And so it's such a daunting process sometimes to just fill out one application and then to have to do that for multiple jobs. I honestly, like, applying to jobs is always so hard. So that's why I really wanted to just congratulate you if you have a job lined up. Even if you don't, I'm a huge person, and I'm not a huge person, but I firmly believe that, the things that we say can really help to influence, the things that happen in our life. So, be excited for the job that you are about to have. Be excited for the position that you will have. Be excited for the school that you will get into. So, congratulations in advance. But yeah, you got through the application process. Be excited. I think that's really something that we often do as humans. We kind of are our biggest critic, and we like to put ourselves down, like, no, we gotta clap even if it's like I submitted an application today, like that was huge. So congratulate yourself. And so now the next step is to prepare for the interview. And this is where we're going to go into the heart of the live stream, and we're going to talk about how to do this effectively. All right. So how can you possibly prepare? A lot of times it's just like, well, how can I prepare for the interview? I don't know the questions. I don't know what they're going to ask me. Like, how? Um, so I think what is really important to recognize is that you can prepare, that there are different things that you can do to help set yourself apart from the other applicants who are going to interview for the same position or spot that you are going for. So first thing is to do your research. Second thing is to study. And the last thing is to practice. So we're going to break down each of these and kind of and I'm just going to let you know like how you can do each of these effectively to ultimately have a great interview. All right, so let's get into it. Before I do, let me make sure. Okay, the chat's good. Okay, I see you. Okay, great. Yes, I feel so proud of myself for being able to like set up a live stream, like, and you all can see me and hear me. Like, hallelujah. All right, let's get into this. All right, so research. I wanted to add this because I think it's very straightforward of just like who, what, why, and when. I should have put where in there, but I don't think it fits, so we can add where. So for the who are you going to be speaking with during your interview? I think it's really important to know this why, because this can be really helpful so that way you can kind of stand out from the rest. And the reason why I think it's important to find out who you are going to be interviewing with is because you can do your research on that person. So say you're applying to a job, if it's going to be the assistant director, if it's going to be a manager, a lot of times on the company's website, they will put a little bio of the person. They'll put some information, or maybe you can even Google it or find their LinkedIn and you can kind of see a little bit about who this person is. Like, don't be a stalker, but it's not stalking. It's kind of just, doing your research to understand who you're going to be having a conversation with. So I think this is important. Why? Because you can learn about this person. Maybe they have similar interests as you. Maybe they're part of the same clubs. Maybe they have the same activities. Maybe they worked in a previous area that was similar to you. So I think it's really important to know who you are interviewing with, so that way you can ultimately do some research. You can find out a little bit more about this person, so that way when you have your interview, you can one, feel a little bit more comfortable, because it's like you kind of already know a little bit about the person. person. And two, you can bring up things that you know that there are common interests. So like if there was like a club that they were a part of in college, or if they worked in a previous like place that was similar to yours, you can mention that about yourself. I mean, it all depends on how the atmosphere of the conversation goes, because you can say like, oh, I read about you and how you do this. I thought that was really interesting. Or you can just mention the similar interests that you have about yourself and allow them to share that about themselves. So that way it doesn't have to seem like you were like being like stalkerish, you know? But it's just research. If it's on their company website, I think it's perfectly fine to share that, because it shows that you are actually really dedicated to this position and, doing your research. So it all depends. I would definitely like kind of feel out the interview before you kind of just like throw that in there. So next is the what. Like I said earlier, a lot of times when you apply to a job, you're applying to multiple jobs at a time. So it gets kind of like jumbled as to like when you get an interview, like, oh wait, who did I apply for? Like, what job did I apply for? What position is this? I think it's really important to know what the position is, or even if it's a school, like what school it is, because it would be so embarrassing if you went to an interview thinking that it was for something else, it was for somewhere else, and that would just be like a hot mess. So know what the role and what the position is. So, because we apply to a lot of jobs and we can forget and not remember. So make sure that you know what the job is, or like what school it is, what the job is about, what the position entails. And as far as for school, we'll go a little bit more into that after, but just know like what school, because that would be embarrassing. Like, oh, hey, I'm applying to this university, and it's actually like a different name and it's a college, and you're just like, oh, that's embarrassing. So don't fall into that. So now for the why. This is something a little different. You probably never really heard this, but this is something that I've learned throughout, conducting interviews and having interviews, is why are they looking to interview you? I think this is something that we don't ask ourselves a lot. It's just like, when we get an interview, we're like, oh my gosh, I got the interview, I made it. But it's just like, well, why did they decide to interview you? Yes, we all know that you are great, you are amazing. I think you're amazing and I think you're great. But a lot of times our resume does not show all of that. And a lot of times there are key things that your interviewer is looking for that they saw on your application, and you want to know what that was and you want to know why. So I think it's important, or knowing like who they are, because then you can see, okay, what was on my resume or my CV, or what was part of my application that would stick out to them. So this entails you having to go back and look at your resume, look at your CV, and also matching it up to the company's mission statement or what have you, to see like, okay, I got this interview, but why? And when you find that why, you can really stick out, because then you can really focus on that area. So say that this school or this job is big on research, right? And you did a whole research internship for a whole year. That's probably what they saw and what they were interested in. They were like, we want this person because they are interested in research, and that's what we stand for. So when you're having your interview, I would brush up on the things that you did at that program. I would look into the different projects that you did, so that way you can really talk on that and you can focus on that during the interview, because that could be something that they're looking for, and that's the reason why they invited you for an interview. You know what I'm saying? Comment in the chat if you agree with me. That's something that I didn't even think about, because a lot of times we get an interview and they're just like, yes, but we don't think about, well, why you got that interview. Y'all agree? Comment below that you agree, so I can know that y'all are hearing me, okay? All right. So the next that we're going to talk about is the when. All right. This is very simple, and this may seem very like, come on, Danicia, like we should know better. But some people don't. Know when your interview is. I cannot tell you the amount of people that I've interviewed who came on the wrong day, who came at the wrong time slot, who did not know what was going on. Like, y'all, you need to know the when and the where. This is where the where comes in. Where is your interview? When is your interview? so you can be on time, and so that way you can know what you're doing and you can know where to go. I think something that I love to do, and this is not necessary because it all depends on the location, or if you have to travel for this interview, but I always like to go to wherever I'm interviewing a day before. I like to drive to that location. I like to make sure I know where I'm going to park. I like to make sure I know how the traffic is, just so that I can get familiar and not have to freak out on the day of my interview. I know where I'm going. I know where I'm going to park. So that way I can kind of like not have those extra nerves or, that fear that you can get when you're running late. So avoid all of this by going to the place that you're having the interview a day before. Drive there. You don't have to go all the way inside and be like, hey, is this where I'm going to be interviewing tomorrow? No, you can kind of just walk to that place, park wherever they say to park, and just so you can be familiar with that area. So that way on interview day, you know where to go. It's smooth sailing, and all you have to do is focus on having the interview. All right. So that's for the when and for the where. So now let's go into study. So let me look at the chat, see how it's going. Oh, I agree with everything you say. You're brilliant. Thanks, girl. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Oh my gosh, I'm super excited that y'all are here. All right. So let's keep going. All right. So study. So now that you did your research, now that you've looked into the program, you've looked into all the things that we just talked about before, the who, what, where, when, why. I don't think I had how. I just looked at the slide and I'm here like questioning myself. Anyways, I'm like super hot, so I'm sorry if I'm trying to pat my face down because I have like lights beaming on me. But anyways, so study. So now that you've done your research, it's time to actually study. Depending on when you did your research, you might have forgotten. So it's important to go over what you've gotten, gather all your thoughts together, and let's like delve into like what you're going to say and all these things. So know your employer or your school. So what do they stand for? What is their mission statement? What are the goals they have for their employees/students? I think it's really important to know these core things, regardless of where you're applying, whether it's a school, whether it's a job. I don't care what field you're in. These are important things to know. What do they stand for? Regardless of where you're applying, they're going to stand for something, and you want to make sure that you know that and you do. And this is part of research, but this is also studying like what they stand for, because although you're going on an interview to try to get a job or get into a school, you also want to make sure that this is a place that you are comfortable being. If they stand for things that you don't agree with, you want to know that, because this interview is not just about them getting to know you, but you want to get to know them a little bit more. But it's also good to do some studying beforehand, so that way you can see like, okay, let me see what they stand for. Does this agree? Does this align with what I stand for? And even if it doesn't align perfectly, that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. But if it's way off and you're like, no, it's a good thing you did your studying, because that's not something that you would want to find out like too late. So what's their mission statement? I think this is also really good to have in the back of your mind, because when you have your interview, you can mention like, in your mission statement, it says that you are really dedicated to seeing your students succeed. And I really like that, because I am grounded and I am focused on succeeding in whatever I put my mind to. So I really like that you help your students with that. Boom. They're going to be like, oh, this student actually like looked at our mission statement. Okay. You get some brownie points. You know what I mean? So doing that studying can really help to make you stand out from the rest, because they were applying to, they didn't know. And it's just like, come on. You can really stand out from the rest if you know these things. And that's why you are here during this live stream. I'm trying to tell you all the keys to success, okay? And so what are the goals they have for their employees and students? This is really good to know. And if you cannot find this, this is going to be a great question to ask during your interviews. Like, what are the goals that you have for your employees and that you have for your students? I think that's a great question. If they have it on their site, that's even better, because then you can incorporate that into your interview. If they don't, that's fine. Ask them that question. That'll really, show them that like you are really interested and that you are focused on, achieving the goals that they have for the program or for the job themselves too. So this is a big one that I get a lot of questions about, is answering tough questions or anticipate tough questions. So when you're studying, you can prepare for some of the questions that they're going to ask you. I'm telling you, some of you are probably just like, no, like that's impossible. It's a hard question. So like, how am I supposed to know? And it's just like a lot of times people are going to ask the same questions. Almost like every interview I went in, I was asked one of these questions. So I'm trying to tell y'all. So I'm going to tell y'all these questions, and you're going to be so surprised, like, wow, like that was something that came up in my interview. So why are you interested in this job/program? They're going to ask you that. So I think it's great that you can know this ahead of time, so that way you can write down, like, why am I interested? And this is where doing that research beforehand can really help you to answer these questions. So you can kind of write down, like, okay, I'm interested in this program because I like that they are focused on this. I like that their mission statement says this. I like that this is one of their goals, like this, that, and the third. So that way you can prepare for that question. So when you get asked, you're ready. And tell us about yourself. A lot of people struggle with this question, and I get it, because you never want to sound like you're being too overly confident or that you're not confident enough. It's just like, well, what do I say? Like, tell us about yourself. Like, I like to watch YouTube. Like, I like to eat. Like, those aren't things that you want to say, but you have to kind of think about, okay, well, what is it that they're also looking for in a candidate or in an employee, and let me kind of incorporate that into what, like, tell us about yourself. So if they love to research, if they're focused on research, like we had mentioned before, you can say, well, I enjoy doing research. If they're focused on having their students succeed, you can say, I work hard at whatever I put my mind to because I want to be successful. Boom. So that way you are saying true things. I think it's really important to never lie, because, you know, when you say one lie, you got to keep lying to keep up with that first lie. But, you know, incorporate things that are true, but that also match with the program or the job that you're applying to. So now I feel like this is the hardest one. What are your strengths and weaknesses? Y'all, this is hard. Trust me, I know it's hard. Answering this question can be very difficult, can be very tricky. And I think it's important that you kind of work it in your favor. So the strengths part is really easy, because you can just talk about, you know, I'm really good at being organized. You know, that's something that I enjoy doing. The weaknesses part, this is where it gets a little tricky, because you want to be honest, but at the same time, you don't want to out yourself on something that could potentially not get you this job or get you into this school. So I think that it's important to kind of think about this ahead of time. And how I would do this is to think about something that you've already grown in. Not something that you are currently weak in, but something that where, like, you've had to work on. So say, like I had mentioned, organization could be your strength, but say organization was your weakness. You can say, you know, there are always things that we need to improve on in our life. And I believe, or not I believe, but you could say, like, I used to really struggle with being organized, and I recognized at how it was affecting, you know, my productivity. So you can say, but since then, I realized that I had to learn how to implement realistic expectations, set goals for myself that every single day, and stick to it. And then I realized that I began to grow in my organization. So although it was something that I struggled in my past, I've learned to work on it. And I believe that, you know, I'm not perfect, so I'm continuously working on my organization, and I have definitely improved from the past. Boom. Know how to make it better. You know how to improve on that and not just stay there in that weakness. That's good, right? Let me know if that's good, because that's good. That helped me. Oh, let me not hit the mic because you can hear it. Sorry, y'all, if that was really loud. All right, let me check the chat. Everything is good. All right. The last one is, what are your short-term and long-term goals? Even though the interviewer is trying to see if you're going to be a good fit for this position or to be in this program, I think it's important to recognize that they also want to just know a little bit more about you. So I would also write down some of your short-term and some of your long-term goals. Definitely make sure that when you are talking about this, that it involves working for the company. You can say a short-term goal, ideally is to work here and to really grow in this area and to really do this, and talk about it. I would write it down on the paper, write down a list of things that your goals are and how this company or this school can really help you to reach that goal. That's something that's really important to add in there. If they ask you that question, talk about how that program and how that job can help you reach that goal. All right. So let's see how we're doing. How they're okay. Yes. I'm happy you all think this is great. Oh, thank you. Yes, it is important to mention how you're improving your weakness. Don't just say you have a weakness and just leave it at that. Just talk about that improvement. That's important. All right, let's keep going. All right, so now practice. Actually, let me go back. Another thing that I'm noticing is happening in a lot of interviews nowadays is that jobs and schools are asking more fun questions, but they might not be fun for you. Some of y'all are probably like, no, I don't like that question, or you kind of get stuck on it. And some of these fun questions are kind of just like, what's your favorite book? If you could meet a celebrity, who would that be? What's your favorite place to go in the world? What's your favorite movie? I would think about some of these things, and I would also keep this in your back pocket. Think about that book. That's a famous one that a lot of places are asking now, because it really helps to show, how your mind thinks, how your mind works. Depending on like the book that you're reading, it can be a reflection of who you are. So I would make sure that you kind of have that in your back pocket of a book that you think represents you well, one that you've actually read, because you don't want to just say a book and then you didn't read it and then your interviewer is just like, oh my gosh, I love that book, and then he or she wants to start talking about it. So do not lie and just say you read a book that you didn't read just because you think it reflects you. No, an actual book that you've read. Honestly, like, I think it's important to be honest, because I was talking to someone and she said that their interviewer asked her about a book, and I was like, oh wow, like that's great. We went over that, and she was just like, yeah. And so I told them that I love Harry Potter, and so it's just like, oh, okay, look at that. So, even though it's like, it may seem like a simple book, the interviewer asked them, actually was just like, oh my gosh, I love Harry Potter too. Which character would you be? And that really, encouraged the conversation. So don't lie. And also, it doesn't matter what it is, because you never know, that person interviewing you could have the same interest as well. So I just wanted to add that in there. They're asking a lot of fun questions, or fun questions. For you, it might be like, no, I don't like that question. But you can kind of anticipate it now because you watched this live stream, okay? All right, let's keep going. All right, so practice. Oh my gosh, practice makes perfect, y'all. I think that a lot of times you kind of just do all this research, you do all this studying, and you're like, okay, I'm ready. But then when you get to the interview, you like choke up and you get stuck, and you're like, oh my gosh, I know how I want to say this, but it's not coming out that way. Like, how do I practice this? You literally just sit down and you practice. I think it's important to do this. You can practice the information that you studied and that you researched, and practicing helps to get rid of anxiety. Like, a lot of times when I practice beforehand, I kind of get out the nerves. Because one thing that happens with me, and I think this happens with a lot of people, when you're talking during an interview or during a presentation, your voice gets shaky and it cracks. So when you're interviewing, so why are we even worried about it? So I think practice makes perfect. I think it's important to do this with someone, so that way they can provide feedback to you. So that way, they can let you know, hey, this was great, but I think that you should work on this part. I think that you should adjust what you said here. Like, I think feedback is incredible, and it's really, really, really important to practice. Like, I cannot stress that enough. If there's one thing that you got from this live stream, it is the importance of practicing your interview. I would do it with someone. I think that it's very necessary in order for you to be successful in whatever interview that you have. All right. So let's see how the chat's going. All right. We're good. Okay. My hat's like falling off. All right. So that is pretty much the end of how to master your interview. But Y'all, it does not stop there. I have created an online course. Y'all, this is big. The reason why I created an online course is because I could not possibly fit everything you need to know on how to master your interview in one live stream. Like, no way. So I took the time to create an online course where you can have a whole list of videos. Like, if you guys go on and see, like, there's a whole list of videos that you can look at to help you master your interview. It covers some of the things that I talked about today, and I even expand on a lot of things, and I even go into detail from start to finish. So that's the day before the interview, after the interview, what you're supposed to do. And when I tell y'all, like, it has everything. And the reason why I wanted to do a course is because I wanted you to be able to go back to it. I don't want you to have to like sit through a whole live stream and click through like, oh wait, when did she talk about this? When did she talk about that? Everything is in the course, and it's all separated by topic. So you can click on that topic like, oh yeah, I want to go and remember what she said about answering tough questions. I have a whole video just on that, y'all. So let me help you. I know this live stream is helpful and it's great, but I have a whole online course where you can, really learn how to master your interview, where you can get some more information. Like, some of you had even mentioned in the chat, like, this is great. Like, I'm telling you, the online course is even better. So it guides you literally from start to finish. And one thing that I really focused on with this online course is making sure that my videos were straightforward. I didn't want to have anything too drawn out. The topics that I have, they're not too long. They're like 10 minutes max or so for each topic. But I have like a whole list of topics, and I have it separated so that way you are able to pick what you need for whatever interview that you are preparing for. All right. And depending on the course that you pick, y'all, you can have a one-on-one session with me. I just talked to you about the importance of practice, right? So you can have a mock one-on-one session where we will sit down. I will ask you questions like it is an interview, and then I will give you feedback. All right. I think this is really, really, really important. And like I mentioned it over and over and over, how practicing is important. But if you feel like you just need some more just tips on just like what to look for in an interview, I created the course where it's 3 separate courses where it's how to master your interview. It's the whole online course, and you get the mock interview included. But if you don't want the mock interview, you feel like you can practice on your own, that's fine. I also created a course where it doesn't include the mock interview. And then lastly, I created just the mock interview alone. If you feel like this live stream was helpful enough for you to have the information on, how to succeed in your interview, that's great. So all you need is practice now, and I want to help you with that. So you can just pick a one-on-one session with me. We can have an hour or even a little longer. It all depends on what you need. And we can have a mock interview. I can provide feedback, and I can really try to help you figure out what needs adjusting, what needs some work, and let you know, like, hey, and give you some encouragement, like, hey, like, you can do this, it's going to be great, and to hopefully help you not be nervous and anxious during your interview. All right. And so this is actually a quote from one of my clients. I did a mock interview with her, and she said this. I'll just read it word for word. The mock interview was really informative as it helped advice. I would take this mock interview again to strengthen my interviewing skills. This was from Shelby. Y'all, she reached out to me after her interview, and she was just like, they asked me the exact question that you asked me during the mock interview. I was like, you are joking. She was just like, no, you were right. Like, they do ask similar questions. And she was interviewing for a pharmacy residency. And so it doesn't matter, honestly, what you're interviewing for. Like, a lot of the things that I share are just things that people are looking for. Yes, jobs want to make sure that they are employing someone who has the credentials, who has the degree, who has all that stuff. They saw that on your CV already. Boom. They don't need to focus on that during the interview. On the interview, they want to know about you. They want to understand who you are and if you're going to be a good fit for their program. So a lot of these questions, it doesn't matter what you're interviewing for. If you're having an interview, you best believe that they're going to ask similar questions, something along the lines, just because they're trying to get to know you. How do I know this? Because I've conducted interviews before. I've helped to employ people before. So this is the proof. Like, this is why I think you should sign up. I'm not just saying it just because it's me, but I have my client here who can show you, who I have it literally on the screen, that this course was helpful for her and she was able to successfully have that interview because she was prepared. She knew the questions ahead of time. Well, she didn't know all the questions, but she did have this one question prepared for already, so she was able to answer it right on the spot. So I think that this course will be really helpful for you, especially if you have anxiety when it comes to interviewing. So I would definitely sign up for this course. But before you do that, I want to give y'all something really special. Trust me, I get it. Like, I'm a student. Like, it gets expensive for all these things. It's like you want to do all these things, but then you're just like, oh my gosh, like, it's expensive. But I wanted to be able to help y'all out. Like, I'm a student. I get it. I know. That's why I created payment plans on my course. So that way you don't have to pay upfront for everything. And on top of that, I want to give you 50% off, y'all. Like, this is half off the course. Okay. Like, you heard correct and you see correct. 50% off. All right. So if you decide to sign up for one of my courses, whether it's just the mock interview, whether it's just the courses, or whether it's both, you can get 50% off. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Okay. If I whisper, can you? Okay, I won't whisper. Let me not do that. But if you are signed up for my email list, there's an even better offer that you will get after this live stream. Okay. Just because you guys are here listening, I'm going to say one more time. I'm offering 50% off, but if you are signed up for my email list, there is an even better offer. Like, I'm practically giving it to y'all for free, but I'll just let you sign up. So I would definitely sign up and like right now, because literally as soon as this live stream is over, I'm going to send out that email with the coupon code that's basically getting this course for like nothing. Okay, so make sure you sign up, so that way you can have like an incredible deal. So if you are interested in signing up, please comment below. Let me know. What are you interested? Do you need some help? Just be like, me, I need help. Like, please help me. I'm more than happy to help. Like, this is something that I'm really passionate about and really interested in because I really want to see you succeed. Like, I want to see you get that job. I want to see you get into that school. And a lot of times you are more than capable, but that interview kind of just like messes up. You freeze, and we don't want that to happen. I want to see you succeed. All right. So let me help you out. Okay. So that is it for the live stream. Y'all, thank you so much for joining. I'm truly grateful for all of you who stopped in, who commented. I'm super excited and I'm so happy that I was able to help y'all. I think it's also important and best for you to sign up for the email list because this live stream is not going to be on here forever. So make sure you sign up so that way you can have this information. But the live stream is actually not going to be on my YouTube channel because I'm going to take it down so that way those who were here can have access to those amazing deals that I talked about before. So make sure you sign up. I'm going to say it one more time. Make sure you sign up, y'all. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for joining. Let me see if there's anything in the chat. Oh, great deal. Yes, it is a great deal. And I'm telling you, the email does an even better deal that you're going to get. All right. So I think that is it. So y'all, thank you so much for coming. Like I end out all of my videos, and if you don't know, I usually end up my videos sharing some encouragement, and literally it's just go out, be kind, be caring, be loving, and as always, be his masterpiece. Bye, y'all. All right. So how do I end this?